How does drug dependency develop? In the beginning, it can be from people who are using to party, have fun, but then it comes to a point where they can tend to rely on the drug of choice more often. So instead of using it just on weekends, it now slips into their weekly life. They find that the increased wakefulness, for example, from using opioids or crystal meth, these are study drugs too, the increased wakefulness, so they end up using it more and more during the week. And then slowly they can develop withdrawal without even knowing it. So it's very insidious, the onset of withdrawal or the onset of dependency, because they don't realize that when they stop taking the medication, at some point they're going to start feeling uncomfortable because of the withdrawal syndrome. So their body has gotten used to the drug of choice, and when it's not present, their body is going through some changes that are trying to balance the abnormal neurotransmission in their brain, and it causes a whole host of symptoms, including agitation, withdrawal, agitation, irritability, discomfort, moodiness, difficulties concentrating, you name it. So these are all the things that can slowly progress, and the way to avoid this is to try to minimize how much a person is taking. So as a healthcare professional, I would say it's best not to engage in any drug use, but this is the old-fashioned Nancy Reagan way of doing things, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. Some people are going to use whether they're told that they know it's bad for them, they still will take it. So the next stage is harm reduction, and that says that if you're going to use, minimize how much harm that this creates in your life. So to avoid going into dependency and withdrawal, the rule of thumb is 3 days. The 3-day rule is do not use for longer than 3 days at a time, and then follow this up with at least 2 days of complete abstinence. This is a trick that people can use to avoid these physiological changes that occur in their brains. It can help keep the balance as opposed to an imbalance, which tends to happen if a person is using on a more frequent basis. So I hope that helps. To summarize it, drug dependence is a very complicated situation. A person relies on the drug of choice at first to party with, but then uses that as a crutch, as a way of staying more awake, for example. And if they're not using it, if they're not being careful, and if they're using it too frequently throughout the week, the dependency can sneak up on them. However, the best way to avoid this is the 3 and 2 rule, and this is to use at the maximum of 3 days and to follow this up with 2 days of total abstinence.